Hi. So the whole purpose of watching this online lecture is to get you ready to go out and collect data tomorrow. We are doing a study for Harvard University. It's Harvard Forest, which is a subset of Harvard University. And you already watched the movie in the first week or second week. I can't remember when I showed it. And you got to meet John O'Keefe, and you're about to meet him again. So I'm going to go through an introduction to the study. We're going to go through a protocol so you can run it tomorrow, and you guys have actually already keyed out specimens, so I think you get the idea of how that works. This is John O'Keefe. I did a workshop with him where he was going through how to flag the trees under their protocol. So we are running his study, which is called Buds, Leaves, and Global Warming. And you'll notice below his picture is a link to the Harvard Forest site, and I actually want you to copy and paste that site into whatever search engine you use so that you can actually go to that site, go to research, go to LTER, and check out other research that they're doing. And I want you to write down other research that they're doing below that URL. What you're seeing now is a graph of data taken at Hubbard Brook on estimated leaf out. And on the x-axis are the years, 1955 or thereabouts to beyond 1995. And so you can see the dates on the y-axis, May, June, and April. And it's the date of thermal sums. That's the number of days in a year where you have warm weather affecting the trees. And so right now I want you to look at that graph and think about why it's going up and down. Write your ideas. There's no right or wrong answers. Just write down right below that graph where there's room why you think it's going up and down. So go ahead and push pause, look at it, and write that down. So hopefully you've had a chance to write it down, and so you can see these dots are years, essentially, when the leaf out has started. And it varies. Sometimes it started in before May 12th. Sometimes it didn't start till June 9th. But you can see overall there's a decline as you go from 1955 towards 1995. That's what that line means. And so, in other words, the leaf out is happening earlier and earlier. So our study is part of another overarching idea of a concept called phenology. And that's the idea that periodic plant and animal life cycles are influenced by seasons. Let's see, I want you to think about phenology and other kind of phenological events. And right below this beautiful picture of Vermont, please write down another phenological event that you can think of where seasons are affecting plants or animals. So go ahead and push pause, think about that, write it down. So here you can see the side of the building at Hanover High School. Actually, on the second floor, that's our classroom. This obviously has changed since last year, but you've already had a chance to walk near our site. Most of the trees are right up along this road, so you have to be really careful as we're kind of going out. Hopefully people will drive 10 miles per hour and no one will get hurt. So in the study of all the schools that are doing it, you have to have at least 10 trees. And we have 13, I believe. And they're all marked with pink tape. And it starts at the beginning of this road with number 1, and it goes all the way towards the other end around the corner where there's number 13. And actually there also is a number 14 kind of down to the left that I added last year in the spring. Every tree you have to look at 2 branches, A and B, and some of the trees actually have a C. Maybe this year we'll have Ds. We'll have to see how the trees are going when we go out. There's supposed to be kind of an opposite end so that if any limb falls, we'll still be able to collect data and add it with another limb. Fall data is what we're going to start tomorrow. You're looking at the size of the leaf, and you're only going to do that measurement once because the leaves are going to start becoming brittle. And we don't want to affect their dropping. We want the temperature to affect their dropping. So tomorrow we'll measure their size. We're going to measure when the leaves drop, the color change of a leaf, and color changes on the tree. In the spring, we're going to look at number of buds, whether they're open, closed, puffy. It's called bud burst. And then we're going to do leaf length, and we will do leaf length every time we go out in the spring. But what's really cool about this fall is we're getting our first set of data in Hanover High School from last spring to this fall, and we'll be calculating growing season. So this is a tree. This actually is a black locust. I know it's not coming through really clearly. Black locusts are compound trees. And they're compound because what you might think, that whole kind of line coming down with a lot of little leaves on it, those are actually called leaflets. And so you're going to be looking at 6 leaves on a branch. And the number 1 leaf is closest to the end on the left, and then as you go to the right, number 6 goes that way. You do not count a terminal leaf, which is the one at the very end. Some of you noticed in your observations it's pointing out. We're not counting that one, so we're kind of just counting the pairs that are looking opposite as we're going from left to right. Right now, again, there's no right or wrong, I'm just wanting you to practice. I want you to, excluding the terminal leaf on this compound tree, I want you to put use a pen, so you're marking where you would put the flag if you were marking the where the 6 leaves are. So wherever you put the flag, that means to the left are the 6 leaves that you will be tracking. So go ahead and push pause. Do your best to put a little flag, imaginary flag in there, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, so it is really important that you get the difference between simple and compound. You get to practice that on the trees that you drew. So simple means essentially you have 1 leaf coming off of the stem, and you can see the axillary bud down there. In a compound leaf, you see the axillary bud, and then there's a whole bunch of leaves. And so those of you who had box elder, black locust, staghorn sumac, I think those were our compound trees, and maples, oaks, American elm, those are simple trees. It's a little confusing, you're going to see in a minute on the data sheet, because you're going to be marking percent leaf or tree, not green. And so I want you to look at this picture, and again, push pause, think about what it's saying. Right below where it says estimations, write down, looking at this leaf, what's your estimation on percent not green? So go ahead and do that, push pause. All right, so we're going to try filling out this data sheet that we're going to be using tomorrow. Now you're going to be put in study groups. There's going to be a captain of your study group. The only person's name I want on this, so it's not too messy, is the captain's name. So you guys are going to be electing captains in your lab groups of 4. If your captain's not there, then you're going to write your captain's name and the second person who's in charge that day. Please always write a date. Please write it accurately, because last year we had some problems with people not writing the date or writing it wrong, and so we had to go back and change some data. Teacher, you're going to write Poston's School, Hanover High School. And so you're going to be assigned a tree number, a branch letter, a tree species. Every time you go out, you have to fill that out correctly. And then below that, it says, please measure leaves only once at beginning of season. And that's because in the fall, they're going to be very brittle. We don't want to be pulling the leaves off. And if that happens, just please tell me that happens so we can document that on your sheet. And so you're going to do leaf length, leaf width. Now remember, if you have a compound leaf, you are going to do the whole length of that leaf. And lengths of leaves do not include petioles, and those are the little lines that attach the leaf to the tree. So we will go over this tomorrow to make sure you're getting the length okay. So So for example, right now on your sheet for leaf 1, leaf length, I want you to write down 10.20 centimeters. And leaf width, I want you to write down 5.39 centimeters. Now below that it says put a check mark in the correct column below to show leaf color and leaf drop. So again, we're going to do this for leaf 1. And so I want you to check off the box where it says 76 to 100%. No, I'm actually going to change my mind. I want you to check off the one that says 0 to 25% not green, because that's probably where you're going to be hopefully when we get out there. And then I want you to put down not fallen, so you're going to put a 0 in that far column. And so again, you're going to do that all for leaves 1 through 6. And then you're going to look at the whole tree, so you're going to step back, look at the whole tree, percent not green, and right now I want you to put a check by 0 to 25. And then where it says total number of steady leaves observed per branch, you are going to put 6. And unless a branch gets broken and we lose some leaves, so this is not because they drop, this is like you lose the whole branch, we are going to have 6 on there. And total number of leaves fallen, that's what you're going to determine. And then the teacher note is for me or whoever is going to be loading this data in. Notice where it says optional field notes. So remember in that video that we watched, Dr. O'Keefe talked about kind of checking around the tree, writing down notes of what, kind of in general was happening. We'll take weather notes, plants, animals, so it really kind of helps to also write down your observations there. That's it. So to recap, when we go out tomorrow, you're going to get a tree, you're going to get a limb. You need to be really clear on what those are and what species your tree is, and remember that. You are going to have to bring a ruler to measure length and width. And then we are going to start looking at number of leaves fallen. We might even have to do some tagging if I don't get to it, and setting up our study site. Last year we took our first date on September 10th, so we're really close and doing it on September 11th. So I hope this has been helpful. We'll go over it in class. Thanks for writing everything down, because that shows me you actually listened to this, and see you tomorrow.